Appeal court affirms alias election as Benue governor. Bandits kill policeman, kidnap district head's wife, 14 others in Zamfara. Osun Judiciary Staff Union protests removal of Chief Judge, shut High Court gate. On the foreign scene, 29 Gaza babies evacuated to Egypt as Hamas reports deadly hospital strike. Hello there, many thanks for joining us in the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Abdurrahman Omar. You're welcome. Now, let's begin on this note. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja on Monday affirmed the election of Hyacinth Alia as the governor of Benue State. The court also dismissed the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and its candidate Titus Uba in the March 18th polls. Uba had approached the appellate court to set aside the judgment of the tribunal which upheld Alia's election. Uba, among other things, alleged that Alia's deputy Samuel Ode presented a forged certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission, contrary to Section 182, subsection 1G of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1998, as amended. He also claimed that Alia's name was submitted less than 180 days before the election date, and Ode was also not submitted to INEC after the party conducted a further rerun primary election. Ruling on the appeal on Monday, the appeal court's three-member panel led by Justice Onyekachi Aja Otisi held that Uba failed to prove beyond reasonable doubt the allegations of forgery against Ode.
Well, the courts have been very consistent on the issue of sponsorship and nomination of candidates for election. And this judgment today did not depart from the long-standing position of the law that sponsorship and nomination are pre-election matters. They are things that happen before the holding of the election. They are also internal affairs of the political parties. And whoever has any grievance about sponsorship and nomination ought to approach the Federal High Court and not the Election Tribunal.
And I am not surprised. I told you here a week ago that the appeal courts will likely affirm the judgments of the tribunal. I was confident about that because the principles of law on the issue of res judicata is already settled. Nothing can change about this.
Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has described the verdict of the appeal court that nullified his election as a temporary setback that will not deter him from repositioning the state on the path of unity, peace and progress. A statement by Governor Mutfwang's Director of Press and Public Affairs, Yang Berry, said the governor, who has instructed his legal team to file an appeal at the Supreme Court, is optimism that the mandate overwhelmingly given to him by the people of Plateau State will be restored. Governor Mutfwang, in the statement, admonished citizens of the state and supporters of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to remain calm, saying that the mandate of the people will be preserved and protected. In the meantime, police authorities in Kano State have vowed to clamp down on any group protesting in the state following a Court of Appeal judgment sacking Governor Abba Yusuf. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) declared Yusuf of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) as the winner of the March poll, but the State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal sacked him. This after the judgment, police authorities in the state say they have gotten reports of groups planning a protest, but maintained that they will not allow such in a bid to forestall the breakdown of law and order. Citing the peace accord signed by the NNPP and the APC ahead of the court judgment, the Kano police chief said the parties should align with the deal, prevent their supporters from any mass action, suggesting preparation for violent protest or celebrations. Now, some residents and aggrieved political parties in Taraba State have called for an outright cancellation of the just concluded council polls in the state. This, according to them, is due to what they called obvious irregularities in the conduct of the election. Here's the report.
According to some voters, the recently conducted chairmanship and councillorship election in Taraba State did not satisfy the basic requirements of law and as such needs to be cancelled. Dal'atu Nuhu, a resident of Majidadi Ward in Jalingo, described the outcome as unacceptable since, according to him, electoral materials arrived at some polling units in the metropolis very late, when most of the voters were tired and left the polling unit. Abdulrazak Mohammed Dandauda, a councillorship candidate in Sintali Ward in Jalingo and a resident, Audi Mohammed, said there was no election in most of the polling units in the area, adding that the few polling units that got election material very late commenced voting with only members and agents of the People's Democratic Party. They also alleged that most of the ballot papers provided were already thumb-printed before the commencement of the election.
Some polling units have no election materials, and at the returning centers, we have 10 collection centers in Jalingo, returning centers, and no single returning officer present at any of these 10 wards.
So firstly, they did not give us the properties complete. They have hid some results. You understand? So we have waste time. People come since in the morning to vote for us because people has come out to vote. You understand? They did not bring the properties of the election.
I voted at Suntai B ward. To be frank, I was surprised when I had the result announced in my unit because the number of ballot papers I saw in the box is too small compared to the number of votes announced. The result announced is in thousands, but what I saw in the box before leaving the polling unit is way too small, although I don't know what transpired after my departure. The chairman of Progressive Congress, Ibrahim Tukur El Sudi, said his party is completely dissatisfied with the outcome, as according to him, there was no election in all 16 local governments in the state. El Sudi accused the ruling party of fraud in the election, noting that what transpired was teleguided by the PDP to deceive the world through selected media houses that elections took place.
Immediately, the materials arrived at the local government headquarters, where they were even taken. If at all they were taken, they disappeared into the houses of, PDP stalwarts, where they went and thumb-printed and filled in result sheets.
He added that PVCs that were found dumped in waterways 2 days before the election were mostly those of opposition parties, adding that it was a strategy to rig elections.
We are calling on the National Assembly and even Nigerians to rise up and make sure that a referendum is taken so that the local government will have their autonomy. So long as you leave it in the hands of the National Assembly, the State House of Assembly will never get to third of the vote to amend the Constitution.
Residents are calling on the state governor to ensure that the right thing is done in order to enthrone the right leadership at the lowest level of government in the state for the betterment of the common man.
Now, a mobile policeman attached to the Maru Police Division was killed by terrorists who attacked Ruandurawa, a community in Maru local government area of Zamfara State on Sunday. Residents said 13 people, comprising 6 women, 5 men and 2 children, were abducted by the terrorists during the attack that lasted more than 2 hours. A community leader who craved anonymity said the terrorists came to abduct residents of the community so they could collect ransom before releasing them. Another resident, Faisal Ibrahim, said his sister Zainab, who is married to the district head of the area, was one of those abducted. We now have joining us on phone call from Zamfara, Yushawa Adamu, Northwest Regional Editor for Daily Trust. Mr. Yushawa, always a pleasure to have you join us on News Hour.
Good evening. How are you?
Now, what is the state of the things in Ruandurawa, a community in Maru local government area of Zamfara State, where it is believed that 13 persons were kidnapped by bandits on Sunday?
Yeah, There is fear and apprehension among the residents because the bandits or this particular attack has inflicted fears among the residents. Even though some of the residents I have spoken with have confirmed to me that they have heard about the coming of the bandits earlier before they arrived at the village. So they organized their local vigilante who placed blocked the Ruando Rawa Kanoma road with attempt to ambush the bandits. But unfortunately, the bandits did not show up until in the early morning Sunday. So they stormed the village on motorbike, about 50 motorbike, carrying 3 people on each motorbike, equipped with a rifle, and they kidnapped 13 people, including women and children. The Ruando Rawa is a village that is having border with a thick forest that linked Maru with Anka, Surutan Sadau, Burgungwar, and down to Burgungwar in Kaduna and down to Zuru in Kebbi State. And there is one particular village in that area where, that is Mutunji village, where activities of local mining is taking place. And because of that, the bandits placed a levy of 200 million on the farmers in that particular area, that they have to pay 200 million before they could be allowed to harvest their crops. And they have already started paying. So this, I feel, among the reasons why attack persists around the local government.
Now, you talk about vigilantes trying to find a way to curtail these bandits from accessing the village. Now, has the police confirmed the incident, and what has been done to rescue these abducted persons?
Well, we have tried to get the police public relation officer to respond on phone, but we could not get him. But from what the residents are saying is that, yes, of course, some police men have visited the village, and they assured them that they will do their best to track the bandits and rescue the victims.
Okay, on the part of these bandits, have they made demand for ransom?
No, for now they have not even called any relations of the abducted people. So later, because you could be surprised that forest, like I have said, in so many local government and even 2 states. So nobody knows where they took the victims first, because they could be in Ngwari or Zulu in Kebbi State. They have not even called any of the relations of the victims.
All right. Now, have things deteriorated so much that bandits can just drive into some of these communities and kidnap people with no reprisals?
Pardon?
I mean, do you think things have gotten to this stage where bandits can just drive into some of these communities and kidnap people with no reprisals?
Of course. I have said, this local government in particular is bordering with a thick forest. It shares border, thick forest that link several local governments to states, that is Kaduna and Kebbi State. So they could easily go there and do their activities.
All right. Yushawa Adamu is the Northwest Regional Editor for Daily Trust. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us and for such insightful update.
Thank you.
Now, moving on. The Nigerian Air Force says it has neutralized several terrorists at its own in Duka in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State. A NAV Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, made this known in a statement on Sunday in Abuja. He said the air interdiction mission was carried out by the NAV component of Operation Well Punch Gapquet said the strikes were conducted after credible intelligence revealed the presence of terrorist kingpin known as Boderi and his foot soldiers at Soniduka. According to him, similar strikes with positive outcomes were also carried out at a location about 500 meters east of Boderi's hideout, believed to be the hiding place of Boderi's brother Nasru. Now, there are concerns that the leadership dispute between petroleum tanker drivers and the Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers may lead to a distribution shortage as the drivers begin a nationwide protest. NOPENC, which is the umbrella body, has debunked the concerns around the dispute, stating that operations in the sector will not be affected. Noel Samson reports.
Reacting to the developments around the protest by the petroleum tanker drivers, the General Secretary, NOPENC, allayed fears by the public on likely shortages while admonishing the parties involved to desist from unsettling the polity.
And on the 1st of November, we decided to take the leaders into the National Secretariat of the branch in Abuja, 50 Moses Mark Economic Crescent. Suddenly, some group of people waylaid the leadership and viciously and brutally attacked the leadership. These guys are already in Kuje prison. Their bail will be discussed tomorrow because they've been charged to FCT High Court, Abuja Court 14, under Justice Alilu. So their dissident members, supporters, are the one now writing anonymously with fake names, saying petroleum tanker drivers are protesting. But we have written a report on that. I signed a press release last night, and the new national chairman also signed a press release. So there is no division in the union.
A quick survey of operations by filling stations in parts of Abuja shows the protest has no effect on the distribution system.
Honestly, we don't know anything about it. As we just heard it, it's just something from us. We're just hearing people saying something about it, but nothing like that. So we are receiving our product as usual, both PMS and LPG. The depot, nothing is going on. Loading as usual, everything is going normal. That's the only thing we know. As you can see by yourself, we even have some standby trucks here. So the trucks, the movements, everything is normal as usual, honestly.
Efforts to get a response from the leadership of petroleum tanker drivers were unsuccessful as they continue to press home their demand for the resignation of the leadership of NOPENC over what they describe as interference in the activities of the drivers. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, members of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers PTD have dismissed reports that it will embark on a nationwide protest to demand the resignation of NOPENC President and its General Secretary Williams Aporeha and Afolabi Olawale, respectively. The tanker drivers were reacting to a publication by Daily Trust, which stated that their union's ex-officio Benga Olawale from Ibadan Depot said the PTD has directed its members across the country to move with leaves in front of their trucks to serve as a warning to NOPENC. In a statement by the PTD National Chairman Augustine Ebon, the tanker drivers described Olawale's directive as unfounded, saying it is dangerous because it can cause panic in the supply chain of petroleum products distribution nationwide. Now, the instability in Osun State Judiciary has taken a dramatic turn as controversy trails the removal of the Chief Judge of Osun State, Adepele Ojo, by the State House of Assembly. The Chief Judge was accused of gross misconduct and corruption and was asked to vacate the office to allow proper investigation on the allegations. Hamid Oyebade reports.
The battle over the office of the Chief Judge in Osun State continues as judiciary workers in the state picket the State High Court in protest against the Chief Judge, Justice Adepele Ojo.
The purpose of coming out today is to picketing the office of the Honorable CJ as regards some unresolved issues between the union and the Honorable CJ. We have been on this issue for quite some time. Like the first one that I want to mention is about the unlawful suspension of some of our members. Some of our members have been suspended for more than 3 years. They have not been paid.
why the legislators in Osun State rely on the provision of the Section 292 of the Constitution on their power to remove the CJ, lawyers said such power cannot be exercised without involving the National Judicial Council, given a precedent decision of the Supreme Court.
First instance, the Supreme Court's position made some position over the matter that maybe it should go through the National Judicial Council. What the Osun State government are saying is that the House of Assembly has power to, under the Constitution as well. And then it becomes an issue for the Supreme Court. But what I will say is that all things that should be done well should be done well.
As far as the issue of suspension or removal of the chief judge of the state is concerned, the law is crystal clear on it. And when we say law is crystal clear on it, we're talking about the clear provision of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria and the existing Supreme Court case, which was decided in the case of Elelu, a similar removal of the chief judge of Kwara State. So the provision of the Constitution is clear.
Stakeholders in the state want due process to be followed in the probe and sack of the CJ to avoid bad precedent. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
Now, the strike by the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria has affected the budget presentation in Delta State. Jonathan Awonyi reports that workers blocked all access to the Assembly complex and crippled parliamentary activities. His report.
The person strike, which has entered its third week, has continued to cripple legislative activities in Delta State. The Delta State House of Assembly, since the commencement of the strike, has remained a dead zone, with the gates permanently locked, with the protesters preventing any form of movement into the premises for legislative workers and even the legislators and their aides. The workers vow to continue until the Assembly's financial autonomy is granted.
What we are fighting for is not something out of the ordinary. It's our right that we are fighting for. It's a constitutional matter. We expect them to respect the Constitution, and I think they will be better off. If they do it, nothing will happen to them. The three arms of government will work better. That is, but I will need to tell you that Delta State domesticated that law. But as far as we are concerned, it's not being operated as expected, because some of the organs has not been established, and we know that our governor will know, it's something that we produce from the house, so we know that he will do the needful.
Affecting all state houses of assembly. What our plea is that the law that we passed should be implemented. Implementation is the problem. We're talking about our autonomy and our salary structure that is unique to the legislative arm.
For the state government, the strike is telling on them, as it did not only paralyze legislation, but is also delaying the budget presentation. Delta State Commissioner for Economic Planning, Aborokiamo Ekedaye, says the budget proposal is ready for presentation. The impact of the person strike is being felt across the country, as houses of assemblies gates have remained under lock and key. Jonathan Awaye, Trust TV News, Asaba.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead. Bauchi communities campaign against open defecation. Details of that and more after the break. Please stay with us.
That's right. You too could be one of the 20 Zenith Bank customers that will win 150,000 Naira every 2 weeks from June 1st, 2023 until May 31st, 2024 in the Zenith Better Life Promo 3. To qualify, simply open a Zenith Bank account. For more information, visit www.zenithbank.com/betterlife. Live the better life with Zenith Bank.
Are you interested in the latest news and developments in Nigerian politics, policy, governance, and other critical national issues? Look no further than Daily Politics on Trust TV. Our panel of experts and key people in government provide in-depth analysis and commentary on the biggest stories in Nigerian politics.
And 33.3 million Nigerians are suffering from multi-dimensional poverty.
It's a much calmer Buhari than the Buhari who was in the khaki uniform.
Naira to Naira X rate is higher anywhere in the world. The Naira is higher than our exchange rate. So you want to
change central bank governor you're doing, you must do it fast.
The number of casualties we have had, we shouldn't have had. Security as far as Nigeria is concerned, we have wronged.
From the inner workings of government to the latest on legislation, rule of law, implementation and democracy, we have you covered. Don't miss out on the latest political news and discussion. Tune in to Daily Politics, weekdays on Trust TV, your source for reliable and unbiased coverage of Nigerian politics.
We started manufacturing leather since 1958. But the most important thing is that if the system is checked correctly, we won't have where we are now.
If somebody has depression, they may just be very irritable and unproductive in the office. So you find on average already about 1 in 4, 1 in 5 Nigerians already have mental illness, a mental health condition that needs some form of attention.
No matter how good an economy is, if the federal government goes bust, believe me, everything in the economy is just a matter of time it will go bust. So first of all, about maybe slightly above, below 70% is in federal government securities.
If government has banned importation of fertilizer and states are doing it at the level of governance, but I believe that production and distribution of fertilizer should be left to the private sector.
This is the general multi-purpose card and it has a chip here. So this chip is about 80 kilobytes. The one that you get from the bank for ATM is just 4 kilobytes. So this is like 20 times.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the News Hour on Trust TV, and here is a recap of some of our top stories. Appeal Court affirms earliest election as Benue governor. And bandits kill policeman, kidnap district head's wife, 14 others in Zamfara. Now to other stories. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo on Monday called for adoption of Afro-democracy in Africa, saying Western liberal democracy has failed as a system of government because it was first on the continent. Obasanjo said this while delivering his keynote address at an high-level consultation on rethinking Western liberal democracy for Africa in Abeokuta to Ogun State. In his remarks, Obasanjo said the Western style of democracy failed in Africa because it does not take into account the view of the majority of the people.
We have a system of government in which we have no hands to define and design, and we continue with it even when we know that it is not working for us. Those who brought it to us are now questioning the rightness of their invention, its deliverability, and its relevance today without reform. The essence of any system of government is the welfare and the well-being of the people, all the people. Here, we must interrogate performance of democracy in the West where it originated from.
In another development, the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has tasked the new Commissioner of Police, Rivers State Olatunji Disu, who was deployed in the aftermath of the crisis that rocked the State House of Assembly, to be professional. Governor Fubara gave the task during a courtesy visit by the Commissioner of Police and his team to the Government House, Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. His report.
The Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, while welcoming the 45th Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, Olatunji Disu, told the CP that his management team and his administration would not make unrealistic demands from the force. Governor Fubara, who promised to support the police to function optimally, said that his interest is the peace and development of the state. He equally urged residents of the state to cooperate and support the police by giving relevant information that will improve security across the state.
I want you to be professional. That is the only request I want to make. As a government, we will give you all the necessary support to do your job professionally. I'm saying this because even if you decide to go the other way, one day you'll be asked to give account of your deed.
Earlier, the Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Olatunji Disu, assured the governor of his understanding of the complexity of the state's security situation, having been in charge of the state's criminal investigation department and also served as divisional police officer in 2 divisional headquarters. He promised to lead an intelligence-driven force and partner with locals in various communities to effectively tackle crime in the state.
We will adopt a proactive approach to policing, one that emphasizes intelligence and foresight, enabling us to identify potential threats before they materialize. Through enhanced surveillance, intelligence gathering, and efficient resource allocation, we will strive to stay one step ahead of criminal elements.
The newly deployed Commissioner of Police also responded to newsmen outside the Executive Council chambers after a courtesy visit to the Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, on the alleged murder attempt of the former leader of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Edison Ehie. The CP, who said preliminary investigation did not reveal an assassination attempt on the factional Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, he maintained that the police officers were only on a routine convoy patrol at the time of the incident.
The preliminary investigations we have done so far this morning has not revealed any assassination attempts. All I knew was that police officers were on patrol. Convoy patrol is a routine thing. And we have made frantic effort to get across to the leader to give us any information he has so that we can include it in what we already have.
CP Disu took over from Emeka Onwunyi, who has been redeployed to the force headquarters in Abuja.
Now, the role of journalists in shaping and improving society through quality journalism remains sacrosanct to the growth and development of Nigeria. A media parley in Kano has highlighted the ever-changing media landscape in Nigeria and the need for a formidable network of journalists to cover underreported human rights stories in the country. Trust TV's Idris Jibrin reports.
The deterioration of human rights in Nigeria is manifesting through reported cases of police brutality, rising gender-based violence, and tough economic situation created by mismanagement of resources, which deprive millions of Nigerians rights to food, education, and health care. Based on these concerns, Amnesty International brought together these newsmen in Kano to, among other things, strengthen partnerships for the advancement of human rights and justice in Nigeria.
As you all know, the civil space has been seriously hampered as a result of overzealous either politicians or some security agents who believe that you do not have the right to create spaces or to peacefully assemble.
I hope that journalists will continue to use their influence to bring out this thing, because journalism is about encouraging freedom, encouraging justice. Therefore, I hope we will continue to work together. Amnesty International will continue to work in conjunction with journalists.
Although professionally required to ensure adequate promotion and protection of human rights, journalists are also victims of human rights abuse, a factor threatening human rights reporting in Nigeria.
Rights don't just fall from the sky.
Nobody ever just come and give you rights. You struggle for those rights. And so, media, as the abstraction of our rights to freedom of expression, is the key with which we can demand other rights.
We feel that aspect will help in advancing the frontiers of freedom of expression, freedom of information, and other multifaceted freedom that a lot of people are not even aware of. Where you see impurity taking place, where you see abuse of power taking place, where you see abuse of office taking place, where you see rape taking place, where you see all societal vices taking place, is because the people are not informed.
But with this renewed commitment by Amnesty International, it is expected that journalists will rise up to the challenges of reporting issues on human rights while highlighting alleged cases of military brutality across the country. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
The Imo State government has presented 185 million naira as relief to the families of security personnel who were killed in the state while carrying out their duties. The presentation was made by the state governor, Hope Ozidimma. Ajibade Press was there and filed in this report.
It was a mixed bag of sweet and bitter experience, as the families of the slain security personnel in the state were compensated for the death of their breadwinners. Though the money will go a long way to ameliorate their sufferings, it is certainly not enough compared to the lives of their loved ones. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma, while handing over the check of 5 million naira each to the families, assured them of government's continuous support.
I understand very clearly that the various services and agencies have their social welfare package and programs and activities that are supposed to protect these officers, console their families. But as a sign of gratitude by the government of Imo State, it is our decision that no matter how it will look like, that we need to appreciate the sacrifice these our officers are doing to protect our states.
The secretary to the Imo State government, Cosmos Iwu, thanked the security agencies for their dogged fight against insecurity.
Let me also appreciate you for this solemn event, for coming to the aid of the fallen heroes, their families who paid the supreme price in the course of their national assignment, and particularly in the state.
A representative of security agencies and beneficiaries, Lawrence Ume, thanked the governor for his magnanimity, adding that they will not relent in their effort to ensure safety, lives and property in the state.
I want to thank you, Excellency, for your compassionate compensation. Thank you for your unalloyed support for the security agencies in the state.
Among the beneficiaries are families of security personnel who were attacked in Ehimembano local government of the state. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
A well-deserved relief there. Now, residents of Osun State have lamented that the newly constructed road between Sekona and Eduna-born towns by the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency has been destroyed by rain few months after. The residents called on federal government and appreciate authorities to approve the project to ensure standard work. Hamid Oibadi completes the story.
The road between Sekona and Ife was in a very deplorable condition for a very long time. The Federal Road Maintenance Agency, at the tail end of the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, embarked on reconstruction of the road. A section of the road was done before Buhari left in May. The contractor abandoned the rest after the transition. Meanwhile, some sections of the path recently reconstructed are already collapsing. Government should be using competent contractors. The one that got this contract did poor job. It's like posting a trader to a school to teach.
The project will go a long way to make the road attractive to investors and visitors. The road is not up to 5 months, and now it is no more roadworthy. I'm calling on the government and other stakeholders to do the needful.
Of this road is less than 6 months, and therefore what we observed was that an high-density road must never be given to an inexperienced contractor. This is the second portion of the road that has gone moribund within 3 months of handing over this road. It's sad that our people that have been experiencing good road on this axis before are now back to square one.
The residents want federal government to probe the project and ensure standard construction work on the road. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
As part of its continued effort towards addressing problems of insecurity bedeviling Katsina State, the state government launched its Community Watch Corps with the sole aim of augmenting the efforts of the conventional security agencies operating in the state fighting banditry and other forms of criminalities. Tijani Ibrahim reports that close to 1,500 young men and women drawn from across the state were recruited to work particularly in the frontline local government areas in order to take part in security operations, having known their terrain better than the security agents in most cases. Report.
Governor Radda inaugurated a Security Intervention Trust Fund Committee under the Secretary to the Government of the State, Alhaji Abdullahi Agerba Faskari, with a 3-week mandate to submit its report on how to mobilize and suggest how to expend funds on security, among other terms of reference. The governor said security is a top priority of his administration, as 22 out of the 34 local government areas in the state are severely affected by the problems of insecurity. Hence, the training and equipping of the Community Watch Corps serves as an emblem of his commitment to security, peace, and community-centered advancement.
You have been saddled with the responsibility of facing a deadly enemy who has no respect for life and peaceful existence. Those bandits have brought pain upon our mothers, daughters, sons, and fathers. It is our religious obligation to protect them.
Chairman of the Katsina Community Watch Corps, Major General Junaid Sani Bindawa, retired, expressed confidence that the insecurity bedeviling the state and the Northwest region could be mitigated through that kind of arrangement as done in other climes. He said the young men and women were trained in weapons handling, counter-terrorism, first aid, civil-military relations, and other security-related activities in order for them to assist the security agents in mitigating the security challenges in their various local government areas. In an earlier interview with the Katsina State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Dr. Nasir Muazu, the Commissioner said the Corps had the requisite legal backing as a bill seeking to establish it was transmitted by the State Governor to the State Assembly, which debated and unanimously passed it into law, which was subsequently assented to by the Governor. Dr. Muazu said the Corps members have gone through 2 months of intensive and rigorous training by experts in order to bring them up to the task ahead of them. Talking about the kind of weapons the new security outfit will be handling, Dr. Muazu said it is going to be operating within the purview of the law, leveraging only on what the law has provided for in addressing issues of insecurity. In terms of the remuneration and other welfare packages, the Commissioner said the government has provided for allowances all across the structure.
Because of the importance and significance of the Corps, taking into cognizance of the insecurity in the state, and we are left with no option than to have this kind of establishment. So they fast track the process, and we're able to get the legal backing to establish the Community Watch Corps.
From inception to date, the Corps had recorded some successes, losses, as well as got involved in some controversial operations. In terms of success, for instance, the Corps was said to have killed a number of bandits, including a kingpin who was identified as Sheikh Usman in Damusa local government, as well as about 13 other bandits among those who attacked Zakka community in Safana local government area recently. However, the attack in Zakka, one of the operatives of the Corps was said to have paid the supreme price alongside one other police officer. Equally, the Corps was enmeshed in controversy when a family of one Alhaji Hamza Zakka accused some operatives of the Corps of killing him extrajudicially over alleged involvement in sharing information with the bandits. Johnny Ibrahim, Trust TV, Katsina.
Now, some communities in Bauchi State have engaged a group of volunteers supported by United Nations Children's Fund to police the environment against open defecation as a way of reducing the spread of cholera and other diseases. The group, which is collaborating with the water, sanitation and hygiene community in the area, says the effort is in commemoration of the 2023 World Toilet Day in the area. Adam Imam files in report.
According to experts in the water, sanitation and hygiene wash sector, open defecation remains a serious challenge to many in Nigeria, with the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF saying more than 48 million people still practice open defecation despite efforts to reduce the practice. According to UNICEF, 105 out of the 774 local council areas in the country were open defecation free, with 8 situated in Bauchi State. Katagum local government area of the state has become the latest to be certified open defecation free by the National Task Group on Sanitation (NTGS) after about 4 years of efforts to attain the status. We always intimate members of our community on the need to avoid open defecation. That is why we have less issues as far as disease are concerned. We also adhere to expert advice from representatives of UNICEF and members of the WASH community here. We thank them immensely. The idea of people using unhygienic ways of passing out excreta inside gutters and polluting the environment have become history in our communities. I think to sustain the tempo, government should get at least 3 vigilantes, especially youths, in each area for effective supervision. We always emphasize on community stakeholders' engagement as a way of sustaining house-to-house awareness, as well as in other places like markets and around public toilets. We also clear refuse around dump sites to ensure a clean and healthy environment. To achieve this status, communities in the council area said they collaborated to provide water facilities and improve toilets which were constructed with consideration for people with special needs. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. The news continues after this short break. Please stay with us.
Hello and welcome to Creative Lounge on Trust TV. My name is Ahmed Mohammed Bello and I'm going to be taking you through my journey as an artist.
Welcome back. Now, the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, says the Federation account is witnessing improved revenue inflow since the removal of subsidy from an average of 650 million monthly to cover 1 trillion naira in the last 4 months. The minister stated this on Monday in Asaba at the opening ceremony of a 4-day retreat organized for members of the Federation Account Allocation Committee. The minister, represented by the Permanent Secretary of Finance Special Duties Okonkun Odu, said the government had for long realized that petroleum subsidy was not sustainable. According to him, subsidy regime eroded revenues that should have been available to fund viable expenditures that were critical to the well-being of the populace. The minister said the present administration was mindful of the needs and welfare of Nigerians and assured that it will continue to implement people's-oriented policies. The minister also noted that the present administration was not oblivious of the untold hardship faced by Nigerians following the removal of fuel subsidy and harmonization of exchange rates. He reassured that all the sacrifices made by people will never be in vain. And now on the international scene, 29 premature babies were evacuated from war-torn Gaza to Egypt on Monday as the Hamas-run health ministry accused Israel of launching a deadly strike on the territory's Indonesian hospital. Frantic diplomatic efforts were meanwhile on the way to seal a deal for the release of some of the 240 hostages that Hamas militants took during their October 7th attacks on Israel. The Gaza Health Ministry alleged that Israel's army killed at least 12 people in a strike on the Indonesian hospital in the Palestinian territory's north, a war zone where entire city blocks have been reduced to rubble. Those killed included patients, said Ashraf Al-Qudra, a spokesman of the ministry, which has reported a death toll of more than 13,000 as the Gaza war rages on into its 7th week. Dozens more were wounded and around 700 people remain trapped inside the besieged medical center, Qudra said. Israel did not immediately comment but pushed on with its withering air and ground campaign aimed at destroying Hamas in response to the October 7 attacks. It says killed 1,200 people. Two opposition candidates for Democratic Republic of Congo's next month presidential election on Monday said they will drop out and back another opposition candidate, Mose Katumbi, following a move by another aspirant last week. Sid Kikuni and Frank Diengo are the latest opposition candidates to throw their support behind 58-year-old Katumbi, a millionaire businessman and former governor of the copper-rich Katanga region. He has promised to fight graft, create jobs and reform the economy of the world's largest producer of battery material, cobalt, and a major copper producer. Congo's former Prime Minister Augustin Matata Ponyo said he will back Katumbi on Sunday following the recommendations of leading opposition parties. Representatives of those parties met in South Africa last week to discuss how to protect the December 20th general election from fraud and decide on a potential joint candidate to challenge President Felix Tshisekedi. 60-year-old, more than 43 million registered voters are eligible to take part in the general election. And in sports news, the 34th Dala Hard Court Tennis Championship captivated the audience in Kano with a new record set in both men and women categories. Over 100 tennis players across the country participated in the tournament at the Kano Club. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim in this report captures the excitement and fierce competition involving Nigeria's top tennis talents.
The excitement at the 36th Dala Hard Court Open Tennis Championship commenced right from the start. The Kano Club was filled with anticipation as the players delivered a breathtaking display of skill and determination. The first major upset happened in the first round when defending champion Uche Oparoje was eliminated by eventual semi-finalist John David. The final of the men's category had two of Nigeria's finest tennis maestros face off in a thrilling match. Second seed Henry Atseye from the FCT emerged as the champion, defeating 7th seed Canis Abu. Canis took the game to Henry, winning the first set by 6 games to 2. Henry Atseye had to dig deep to win the next 2 sets 6-2, 6-1 to emerge victorious.
I lost the first set at 6-2. You know, we're playing with a lot of the wind, the sun, everything. But I was just telling myself, you're not the only one in this situation. He also is playing against the wind, is playing against the sun. So I just tried to keep myself, to coordinate myself and see how far I can work at, to just give out my best, and which I was doing, and it was working out for me. So I think that's what carried me through.
The women's event was won by wildcard entrant Khadija Mohammed. The 14-year-old shocked Nigeria tennis scene by becoming the youngest ever winner of the Dala Hard Court tournament.
Well, I felt good to get a wild card because many people wanted the wild card, but I got it. So I didn't want to let the people that gave me the wild card down, because there were other people they could have given the wild card, but they chose me. So I didn't want to let them down. That's why I came. And from the first day, I told the person that got me the wild card, I'm going to win. And then I did.
This lady, a 14-year-old, she will inspire others to come into this tournament. No problem. In the past, you have champions 1 year, second year, third year, same thing. So it's no longer happening.
The 36th Dala Hard Court Open Tennis Championship is certainly a celebration of 36 years' journey of success in the tennis tournament. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News.
For more letters in the world of sports, let's join Emmanuel Fashimi.
The World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, has shown displeasure against National Anti-Doping Organization of Nigeria, NADO, for not being an independent body, and this may cause Nigeria anthem and flag not to be sung nor raised at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. In a letter, WADA confirmed clearly that Nigerian national symbols, her flag and the national anthem will not be allowed at the Olympic Games if it does not do the needful. WADA further announced other sanctions Nigeria may face, which includes banning NADO officials from attending any of its program, hold or take part in any event hosted or organized, co-hosted by WADA, alongside not receiving funds from the agency. The anti-doping authorities has given 8 December 2023 as last day for NADO to be separated from the Ministry of Sports to be an independent body and qualified to conduct doping tests, or the sanction will take immediate effect. The 4 in Ivory Coast. Manchester City Erling Haaland and Arsenal Martin Odegaard will not feature in next summer's 2024 Euros tournament in Germany after Norway failed to qualify. The Norwegians didn't play on Saturday night but required Israel to beat Romania to keep their qualification hopes alive. However, Romania topped Group I after beating Israel 2-1 to book their place at Euro 2024 and leaving it mathematically impossible for Norway to make the finals. Israel joined Group J's Bosnia as the top 2 in the Part B playoffs, but there will be no place for Manchester City.
And with that, we have come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentary. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.